Heidi, it seems like finally this trial is going to get going after delay after delay. And the person who's being accused of being a delinquent director is the first witness.
Yes, most definitely, Bardan. So we saw about 6 witnesses coming in for OUTA and the South African Pilots Association, and now they are done with their witnesses and the evidence that they've brought forward, and we will be hearing from Dudu Myeni herself. This is, of course, a trial that's been brought forward by OUTA and the South African Pilots Association, seeking to declare her as a delinquent director, and now it's time for Myeni's lawyers to bring in their witnesses. But on the witness list, it's only Myeni herself that's set to testify today, and we do understand that she will be in the hot seat. So she will have to speak to all these allegations levelled against her and perhaps just be given an opportunity to give her side of the story as to what happened under her watch. We do understand that, OUTA and the South African Pilots Association, the various witnesses that they have brought forward, have spoken to what happened under her watch, the allegations of how she was heavily involved in procurement deals. We heard the CFO just this week speaking about how she lied repeatedly, how she was heavily involved in the Emirates and Airbus deal, how she cancelled those deals at the very last minute, costing the airline billions. So she will have to answer to all of those allegations and speak about her time as the chairperson at SAA.
Well, depending on the line of questioning, I would assume from the kinds of arguments we've seen before during the delays by her legal team that, she's likely to argue that she was only the chair, that these were decisions taken collectively by the board.
Most definitely, Brian, and it's going to be interesting to see the kinds of evidence and documents that she brings forward to this trial and when she takes a stand at 10 o'clock. But basically, just getting a sense of the cross-examination that we've seen from Dudu Myeni's legal team to the witnesses brought forward by OUTA and the South African Pilots Association is that she was the chairperson and she wasn't the only person at SAA. She wasn't the only one that was set to make decisions. And just looking at the various applications that were brought forward by Dudu Myeni's legal team before this trial eventually started. If one remembers, it was an application to include other board members to be declared delinquent directors and not just Dudu Myeni. There was an application to have her plea changed as she felt as though she was misled by her previous attorneys, and the other application was for OUTA to be removed out of this matter as she felt as though there was no legal standing. So just given by looking at these previous applications, one can get a sense of where the argument is going to lean towards, specifically around the fact that Dudu Myeni will most likely argue that she wasn't the only board member. Just because she was chairperson does not mean that she made the final decision. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it's a much anticipated day for many to hear exactly what has happened, given the fact that she hasn't been in court since day one, since this trial began, since all those applications were brought forward. And it's an opportunity for her to give her side of the story.
And let us not forget, right at the start, she said she was sick, she couldn't travel, she had no money, and all those issues came up. Now, you said that the people who have brought this case against OUTA and the Pilots Association had 6 witnesses, and her defense has only tabled 1 witness, and that's herself. Is it likely that we might see the defense bringing up, her legal team bringing up more witnesses?
Well, it's a very good question that you pose, Brian, because from the beginning we've tried to get a sense of who Dudu Myeni will bring forward to testify, basically for her, given the fact that OUTA has brought 6 witnesses. But from what we've heard and what's been read into court by Advocate Buthelezi, who is part of Dudu Myeni's legal team, is that many witnesses have been unable to commit to the time frame that this trial has been set down for. Initially there were a number of witnesses on the list. I think it was about 3 or 4. We're not sure who they were, but we do understand that we only have Dudu Myeni on the list to testify in her defence. So it's unlikely that there will be any other witnesses, but that's not set in stone. There might be more witnesses brought forward, all depending on where this trial sways. However, the fact that she is the first witness might speak to the fact that she might only be the only witness to testify in her defence. So we'll just have to wait and see what is brought forward in court today.
Yeah, and that means it might take longer than a day for her to be cross-examined while she's on the stand. First, of course, her team, and then by the prosecuting. It's going to be very interesting. We wait and watch, and we'll wait and watch at 10 o'clock. Thank you very much, Heidi Jokos, in court there in Pretoria. Still,